Hello, Jesse Cox,
Hey!
aka the little JC. Hello, everyone in the Crown of Thorns basement. We got to get out of this basement. Is that the Endwalker? Are we going to the moon, Jesse?
Is our next episode going to be on the moon, JP?
I think our next episode has to be on the moon.
All right, done.
I mean,
Fine,
I think,
great.
yeah.
I'll meet you there.
I don't know what that means. We did this FC tour today. We did the great walkathon through the Shadowbringers zones. We had about 3 hours as we retreaded, I should say, our journey through Shadowbringers. And the entire time I kept thinking, I don't really have any idea what we're about to play this next week. I really don't.
I mean, I don't know what I'm going to play.
Well, I mean, I know what I'm going to play, but I don't know like what it's going to be, right? Like, I don't know where we end up.
Probably back here. Probably slow walk back to the planet. Like, we just kick some ass. Good job, everyone.
I could totally see them doing some crazy shit, though. And just like how we were able to travel to and fro the source, what if 6.0 ends and, like, we don't live here anymore? We're somewhere else. We can journey back here, but, like, this isn't home. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think will be? Your level of concern is ridiculous.
I don't know if it's concern, it's excitement, Jesse. I want to see some crazy shit.
We won't be at home anymore, Jesse.
I want to see
be at home.
I want to see a rejoining. I want to see the moon destroy
Why
the
do you
planet.
want to see the rejoining's not good? That's bad for us.
Well, I mean, I just want to. Why is it bad?
We cease to exist.
No, we just join with our 12.
Did you not play through Shadow? That's bad news.
Well, you know, some say Emmett.
Don't be like one of those like Thanos was right people. Don't do that.
That's
Don't
exactly
do that.
what I was gonna say.
Don't do that.
I saw it on a bathroom stall. Okay, I was watching a play. No, that's tomorrow's show. We can't talk about that. Mm-hmm. That's tomorrow's show. Yeah, we can't talk about that. No, I look, after the first two zones that we've played, okay, at the media tour, and the moon, which we've seen in a trailer, I don't know where we're going.
If I had to guess, I would say that I don't know the order of operations, but clearly the plot of Garlemald is we're going to go there and try to save the people that are left over that weren't murderated. And I think that dude from the third's going to roll up and be like, hey, I just wanted to help, bro. Like their cousin or uncle, whoever he is, the guy who runs the Third Legion, he's going to show up, convinced of this.
All right.
And I don't know where that's going to go. We'll figure it out. But I think that's the plot of Garlemald. And then the plot of Thavner's just going to be like, hey, we gotta help. We gotta get these people. We need something from them. What? I don't know what. We're going to need something. There's going to be like a MacGuffin.
Well,
and that hunt for the MacGuffin is going to take us to
the moon.
Yeah, somehow. You know.
Well,
the thing
heard
that I don't
on the moon that there's some special dust that
somehow,
you can sprinkle on an Ascian, and then they turn away. They just float away.
Well, I think there's going to be at some point, and I don't know why. I don't know what the impetus is, because it seems like everything we're doing is don't go to Charlene. Those guys are dicks, and I don't know why we're going to end up there. But from having explored there and having seen the footage that we've seen, in the city, there is like a building that I discovered, and that building has elevators that go down.
Yeah.
And they won't let you near them, at least in the demo we played.
Sure.
And those elevators look like they're connected to when we saw the screen capture of that dome thing.
Right. You think that they have like a bomb shelter.
Right.
They're the preppers, and that's how they live through all the calamities.
Yes, and I think what we're going to discover there is some secrets about the moon, and that's why we're going to go there. And, I honestly, I have no clue how we get from here to the moon. No clue, other than we jump on Estinian's back, and he's like, hold on.
That's the hope.
We just zoom up to the moon.
That's the hope and the dream. That's
the dream.
That Estinian jumps us up there. What if it's all the great debate, and we never actually go to the moon. We just go to the prepper bullshit, and they have like a fake moon in the Charlian.
So what you're saying is
Subterranean
that the moon
universe.
landing was fake.
Yes.
And that
Charlian
gonna
faked
be
it.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I mean, well, how else would the lights? Why would there be lights up there? It doesn't. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I think the moon landing will be real in this. I'm gonna let you know.
Okay. All right. Well, before we do too much hypothesizing about, before we go too far forward, Jesse Cox, we got to go back a little bit. All right. Let's talk about Shadowbringers as a whole. I talked all day about my favorites. I'm curious to hear yours, because you have a little bit of a different experience with this game, being that you played literally all of it this past year.
True.
You have been through the entire game in a much faster pace than I have ever experienced. I think I saw today that I've been subscribed for 2,140 days or something like that. So I've been playing for a while, but you have been here a year. It's fresh in your mind. I'm going to ask you some favorites, okay? Number one dungeon of Shadowbringers. Go. What was it?
Of Shadowbringers?
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. You can pop open your dungeon thing as well.
I was just thinking about this the other day. I don't know if it's a recency bias. Is that what that's called?
Yes.
But man, I really like everything. I know everyone wants to say the twinning, but I like Pathalthan. I love that dungeon for some reason.
Really?
It's the music is amazing. The fact that you get to run a dungeon with Estinian being like, "Let me handle this shit," and you're like, "Yeah, boy." That's great. It's super fun. I don't know. Yeah, the thing is that there's lots of stuff I love. Like if I just looking at the dungeon list right now, Holminster Switch is a fantastic introduction to the world.
It's pretty good.
It shows you a lot of what you don't see on the maps, which I think is great. I think Mount Gulg is like a very cool looking thing.
Yeah.
Amrat is pretty amazing.
Mount
the
Gulg,
twinning is, the twinning.
Twinning's just infamous or famous, really, depending on how you want to go at it.
I want to say the Hero's Gauntlet is also, I'd say, man, there's a lot of good ones. But
there's like narrative dungeons, and then there's just one-off dungeons that are, and I think those are like two separate kind of things, maybe.
There's just something about the fact that, and maybe, again, recency bias, but also maybe because I've played it all through in a year, and I've experienced the story, seeing all the races of man and beast come together and and like
wait, what was that? Which one? Okay,
that one. Watching them all come together and fight in that one is so cool. Like having all the little tiny beast boys like, "I'm here to help," and you're like, "Yeah, you are." That's neat. And then having a dragon vaporize enemies, wow, like it's fun. I love that. I would say it's the same kind of vibe that you get doing what is that? Gimlet Dark.
Yeah.
The same kind of like, it's a story dungeon, but it's also super fun to just keep playing over and over again. Because it just everything about it is like, yeah, we're doing a thing. I think that's neat. It's the same vibe of Hero's Gauntlet. And I think that's pretty cool. And the same vibe of Mount Gulg, which is like, we're doing a thing. A thing is happening right now.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is neat.
Mount Gulg was good. I think like a lot of the dungeons, they learned different things and focused on different things. Like Mount Gulg was definitely about a narrative of like, a mountain being attacked by a giant creature type deal. And that was a lot of fun. But all in all, I think the dungeons in Shadowbringers were definitely elevated from expansions past. They were great. They were all good to go. Who's your NPC of the expansion, Jesse Cox? Who's your if you had to choose one person to go to the moon with, who would it be out of the NPCs available to you?
Oh, I mean, the NPC of the expansion
Could be good or
obviously
bad.
falls to Graha 100%. Like, that's easy. That's easy.
I mean, if Emmett is considered an NPC.
The goof, Graha still's better. The answer, though, is that Moogle who's really obsessed with killing people. That's the guy I'd take to the moon. That dude is like, I want to kill everyone. That guy has got problems.
I don't even know who
want
this
him on
is.
my side.
What are we talking about here?
The Moogle who wants you to collect nuts.
Okay. The nut machine.
Yeah, there's an entire
nut man.
cutscene where even the lady's like, "You are out of your goddamn mind," and he's like, "I love killing things." I love that guy.
Yeah, Nutsy. Clan Nutsy.
Yeah, that dude's great.
Yeah.
I think he's my favorite not main NPC this expansion.
That's true. That's true. Now, the counterpoint to that, what NPC, without question, does not make it through Endwalker?
NPC without question.
Who's dying?
Boy.
I still don't know if they're going to kill anyone because there's so many in-game systems that rely on people being alive.
When you say NPC, are you considering main characters as well in that?
I mean, what's the classification of a main character? I
Well,
thought we were the main character.
for some reason, I feel like when you describe an NPC, you're talking about like, I am Morgan Johnman, the
no, I mean like the
crafter.
Scions and like that.
Right, okay,
type
yeah.
stuff,
Thancred 100% is dying. 100%.
You think his
Thancred's dying.
story's done?
Yes, completed, finished. His entire character is one where he watches after, the Menphilia, and there's no more Menphilia, and she has grown, like she's like her own thing now, and Reen and Gaia are their own, they have each other.
Yeah.
And Thancred is kind of like the dude who has no purpose except in good writing to go out like a badass. Convinced.
I mean,
Twins,
maybe.
I think, are fine. Everyone's worried. The twins are going to be fine. Estinian, while I feel like Estinian, it would be amazing if he jumped the moon and destroyed the moon. That'd be incredible. But Estinian is going to live because he's a trust thing. So, whatever.
Well, so is Thancred.
Damn it. Why can't...
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're all so tied to systems within the game that I don't think that they're going to die.
I mean, and I'm fine with that. They haven't done any major, like, and then these characters will be gone. I think the stakes are a little bit higher than a single character, but I don't know. They could have included that to throw people off, too. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
true.
yeah, no, they're definitely part of it.
I mean, could be. I don't know.
I think everyone's fine.
Yeah.
Although, you know who worries me? If these sons of bitches kill Tataru.
Well,
Oh,
Tataru could
that's
go.
the one. I think that might be it.
But here's the thing. Who in the world of the bad guys, right? Like in the bad guy realm is like, oh, that motherfucking Tataru's got to go. She's the worst, right? Like,
Hey, hi. This expansion we're going up against Zenos, who literally in the trailer is like, anytime shit goes down, you show up. And if I was a villain, if I was like, if I was the Green Goblin and I had to get Osborn, I would be like, the heart, Osborn. And who is the heart? Tataru.
I think
That's how you break the Scions.
I mean, Chad's making a lot of good points that I had as well before Chad emboldened the opinion that this person would not make it. I think we might see like Sid or some of the faction leaders go. Like they might kill, I'm not going to mention her by name, but the pirate lady might not make it, Jesse.
No, I think she's fine. I
Are they
think a
too
lot
far
of these...
removed from the main story? The main...
I would...
Like the pirates lady likes, let's go to the moon. It just jumps on an airship. It's not how
I
that's
would
gonna
say
work.
based on the way they've done things in the past, where I thought like, oh my God, they're going to make some major plot changes. And then they were like, tricked you. I think perhaps a lesson was learned from watching other games warp their story too much to make it shocking rather than just a good story, if that makes any sense. And so you don't need to kill off a bunch of characters or change your world drastically in order to tell a good story. And I think that we're going to see that a lot of the characters we know and love are going to be fine. And they're, this is the end of one part of a story, but they'll be around. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm very curious. They could take out Kryl, but that seems rude to Kryl. What Kryl do?
Like fucking awful. Kind of a dick
Yeah.
move.
So, but again, if we had to pinpoint anything, any character, the more I think about it now, and that is the last 5 minutes, the more I think about it, I think it's Tataru. I think all y'all are being like, Tataru's the bad guy. Tataru's going to die, and everyone's going to freaking cry. Everyone's going to be so upset. That's why Tataru's featured on the key art. She's going to sacrifice herself to save us. Watch it happen, JP.
Tataru has never been a character to be in harm's way.
That's right, but now everything is harm's way. So what
is Zenos going to have like a member of the Scion who like sees that the world is falling apart and it's like, wait a minute, I'm going to help out Zenos because none of this fucking matters anymore. And I'm going to give him
who would do that?
Tataru.
What Scion would do that?
I mean, probably Urianger, right?
No way. That's not Urianger would never be like, and I've given
I knew this the entire time, but I knew that you
never
wouldn't
happening.
actually let her die,
Never
so we'll save her.
I've changed my mind again.
Oh.
It looks like Tataru is going to sacrifice herself, and just when she's about to die, a brilliant white light will protect her, and you know who's going to show up?
Matoya.
That goddamn carbuncle! And he's going to be like, I'm here, Tataru.
Summoners got changed.
It's going to be the greatest moment in the history of video gaming. The biggest payoff ever. Where the carbuncle comes and saves Tataru. That's it. That's what I'm sticking with it. That's the one. That's it.
Maybe so. Could be. Well, we'll find out on Friday, or really, I guess the days following Friday.
I'm not going to find out for a while.
Yeah, you've got some time before you can dive in.
Yeah, I'll be gone.
Which it is what it is. Favorite zone of Shadowbringers, Jesse Cox? What was your favorite zone?
Is this based on how it looks or the music?
Just, I think that both of those are contributing factors to the best zone. Because this one, again, it was a very contested conversation in chat when we brought it up.
Really? What did people...
It was between two zones for most people.
My favorite zone is the Tempest, but I'm curious what
it was
everyone else thought.
Or Ratika. Those were the two zones that people
Well, that's because people know Lahi.
But they also like the story stuff and the dungeon as well. And Ratika was also very good. And I feel like it's also maybe cheap to say that in the Tempest that the dungeon that exists is, a part of that zone when it's the last one, if that makes sense.
Sure. I mean, if I had to not include the cool bits of the Tempest, I would say the one I like the most actually is Lakeland, because the story parts that take place there are very, very interesting. It explains the world in a way that is like, yo, these people are down and out, my dude. They need you.
Right.
So I liked the story bits that took place there. I thought that was pretty fun. And if you do the just random side quests, eventually you get to go and explore the area, that big ruined fortress, and learn more about
what happened there.
The Warriors of Light, and then they're like this mysterious other character, and I couldn't believe, having done that already in the level 70 through 80 job quests, having gotten to the end and experienced like, oh, I know this now. Seeing that there was a side quest that talked about it that I completely missed, that was hinting at things that were to come that I'd done earlier, but that was fascinating. So I loved that.
What's the song of the expansion?
Song of the expansion?
Number one song of the entire expansion. Bunch of bangers out there.
Look, we can't pretend that Shadowbringers isn't the song of the expansion. Like, that's what it is. I don't know, but it is.
Do we have a version?
I know everyone's
like what? Like, I guess
the version that plays during the final boss. However, with that said, obviously,
what about
for meme's sake, it's the twinning.
Twinning is good. I guess standalone song. Tomorrow and Tomorrow is really good though.
It's good, but I don't think it's the song of the expansion.
I mean, I guess there is a difference in the best song and song that defines the expansion.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think they did a great job with this expansion, defining it right out the gate with a theme song that like set the tone and mood of what was going to happen. And I don't think they did that in the past, right?
True.
Even if you go back and you watch the trailer for the previous two expansions, they're kind of like a mix of themes, and not in the way that they blend it together well in the Endwalker and Shadowbringers trailers. But I mean, like, they're just kind of like song, and they don't really flow that well together. I mean, they do, but not nearly as good as it's one piece composed to have all of them, if that makes any sense.
Right. Yeah, I think from like the song that at least I have the most emotional response to, I think 5.0 was Tomorrow.
Oh, well,
But
I mean, emotional response is different.
I think was Eternal Wind. But I think for me, like, that's how I judge the song is like, what's the best song or what's my favorite song?
Sure.
It's probably my emotional response, which is probably Eternal Wind, I would think.
Right. But. Yeah, that wasn't the question you asked me.
It wasn't. Yeah. I mean, I guess you could just like distill the question to just be best song. And it's all those things combined.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to say best song total for all of Final Fantasy, it's one of the Heavensward songs for sure for me.
Yeah.
The one, I think it's like Boss Fight 2 or whatever. That song, when that shit starts, I'm like, let's go.
Boss Fight 2, the greatest song. Yeah.
Yeah.
We also have the Nier raids as well, which I think have some phenomenal melodies.
The first Nier raid, last boss fight. That's a great
incredible
jam.
song. Way to the World. Yeah. It's like what? Way to the World / Final Fantasy prelude or something. Great.
Yeah. The second one has that like remix of the Final Fantasy 14 like battle song, but it has just like the gibberish speech in the background from Nier, which I love.
I stood up in my chair.
Oh, that's great. Big old Nier fan.
Yeah. Well, even the final, I think the final one is very good. Just song-wise. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Kaine's theme.
I always refer to that as Kane's theme just because it triggers all of the weebs in the chat. Like, if you want to find some weebs, just be like, I like Kane's theme.
It's, you know what? Shameless plug, the next Gentleman's Gaming Club is about Nier Replicant, so.
Really?
Yeah, we even talk about the raid in this and the mobile game. And,
nice.
And the Nier Glacier is deep. Let me tell you.
That's a deep well. For sure. What else do we have in Shadowbringers? The NPC song zone.
If we're going to talk...
Do you have a favorite boss
normal
fight?
Raids, 100% it's Eden's Promise Litany. If that's what we're going to...
Okay.
We're talking normal. The one with the dog that holds the sword that literally is like Dark Souls.
True.
That is a dope-ass fight.
Did you do that fight on Savage?
Fight. I don't think so.
That fight on Savage.
I think I've only done 1, 2, and 3 on Savage.
Oh yeah. That would be. Is that 11?
What do you mean?
Is the dog 11?
It's the second to last, I think.
Yeah, that's 11. Yeah. It's not that bad on Savage. It's fun mechanics. I love
that. Yeah, I love that whole fight. I love the way it looks. I love the character design. It's cool as balls. Also, it
that's
helps.
10, sorry.
It helps me kind of put together my weird theories about the 13th, which I love. So.
Oh, weird. Maybe we'll see some more of that.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite just in general, like boss fight throughout the entirety of the game since you played it over the past year? Or is it still the dog?
My favorite boss
I mean, because you've seen a lot. You've seen them all, actually. Most of them. I would say 99% of them.
Yeah, my favorite boss fight. I don't... Man, that's a tough one. Because I want to say... there's so many good boss. Like, so I love the idea of. I guess I don't love the boss. Never mind. I was going to talk about Matoya's relic, but like, really, what I love is the rave cave in that dun. I just like want to go through that rave cave over and over and over again. But that's not a boss fight. In fact, there's no boss in that area.
Right.
Hero's Gauntlet was like all right. Man. Mount Gulg was like, whatever, because the boss fight wasn't until afterwards. I don't know. I don't think there was any. What's the best boss fight? You stumped me. Hold on, I'm gonna figure this out.
I mean, we got Omega, we got Kefka, we got.
Oh, who am I kidding? The best boss fight was Ruby. Ruby weapon, easy.
Really? I didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Easy. Ruby weapon, big fat tacos, plus at the end, then you get hit with like the plot twist / ridiculous over the top, like oh, it's great. I love it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. What else? I mean, I'm trying to think. Did you just have like an overall best moment in the Shadowbringer story for you? I mean, I think for me, the classics obviously are like the axe dropping in and the song starting right there, and Emmett, snapping in 5.3, that type of stuff was also big. I think those are probably the standout
what
moments.
a spoiler category. Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine anyone listening at this point has done it. For me, the best moment, I even paid a fan artist to paint this because I love it so much.
Oh, wow.
I know. The best moment is 5.3 when Graha is trying to like seal away Elidibus.
Oh, right. Okay.
And he like can't do it. So you give your strength to help your friend, even though it will kill your friend. It's a beautiful moment.
Yeah. That's good.
So I think that's the standout moment of the entire thing.
I think, yeah. There's definitely something at least worth mentioning, the Tesleen moment, because it definitely comes out of nowhere. And it hasn't.
But it's also, that's fantastic. It does set aside this expansion as being like.
It does.
Different. I don't know. The way to describe it is when that happens, you're like, oh, this is different.
Shift. Yeah, things shift. Yeah. It's the first what the fuck moment of, I think, the expansion of like, this is an MMO story and like, this is happening type deal.
And I think we're going to see more of those in the next expansion. I think that resonated with a lot of people, that it was shocking.
Yeah.
And also like totally wild and awesome. I think we're going to see more of that because they did say the next one is straight up just an RPG, right?
Right.
And as a major RPG, you're telling a story, and the story has to have all the narrative hooks. Like with Shadowbringers, you could still see the MMO backbone in it. A great example is most MMOs have a flow, and then there's like a pause. And it was very, very obvious where it was in Shadowbringers, where it was like big moment, and now you are searching in ruins. Big moment, and now you're working with miners. Big moment, like that. And the reason those exist is because all those big moments, if you string too many of them together, players like zoom through stuff, and there is no like, and now pause. Hey, maybe take a break, like that kind of thing.
Right.
And just mentally, when you hit that wall of like, you mean I gotta do quests for miners now? What the hell is this? Mentally, you like check out for a hot minute, and it gives you time to back away and take the night off or whatever. And so it was there. I'm curious if they're gonna be like, we forego all of that, and we're just like, go nuts. It's gonna be wild, right? I don't know.
Yeah. Again, that circles back to kind of how we started talking about how we started the show, in the sense of, I honestly could not tell you what this next expansion is going to be. Like I think if anything, that's just kind of how it goes with Final Fantasy. Cause like no one expected Shadowbringers to be what it was going to be, right? Like when we started that expansion, none of that shit it just wasn't there. So we have somewhat of a, like a blueprint maybe for what it could be. But I guess the next question that I have for you is one that I've seen chat talk about. And I think, in the current conversation of video game coverage and just fan theories and fan discussion, there's this idea of like, can Endwalker live up to what Shadowbringers has already done, right? Like comparing and contrasting the expansions when they haven't even played it yet. So the question is to you is do you think that there is a way for Endwalker to live up to the hype and expectation that Shadowbringers has created for it?
Yes. Do I? That's a, yes, I do. Do I think the task is difficult? I do as well. Like, I can see how this can easily be the best of all of them, and at the same time, I can see how
it's gonna piss some people off, right? Like,
well,
no
sure, but
no one's
also
gonna be happy.
Yeah, also, the way the story's being told is very similar to, at least on the surface level, is very similar to Stormblood. And that we're going location to location. There's 4 major locations, all of them plot and story heavy, compared to the story of Shadowbringers, which was like, you're going to a place, and while all the zones are connected, they're all connected to one central theme and one central story, right? And so no matter what's happening in those zones, the main idea is that we were trying to stop the, this wave of light nonsense. And it's all connected to the through line of Emmett being like, I'm just watching it, definitely not messing with y'all. With this, we have the Charlians being like, we're sneaky as hell. And you have, Zenos who's like, I'm gonna burn it all to hell. And then I'm not sure what's going on in Thavnair. I don't know what the plot there is.
Yeah, Thavnair seems like a MacGuffin land. You said that earlier, and it's been resonating in my brain. Like, I feel like that's the land where the apocalypse starts to happen, because we've seen the cutscenes, and you're there, and maybe there's a MacGuffin there, and that's it, and then you leave. Right? Like, I don't know what happens there. There's also a tower. For some reason, there's a tower there, so maybe that's why you're there.
Well, there's a character they mention in the tower. I forgot her name now. But Kryl says that they're there for that character, so maybe that character knows a thing.
The character from the beach, right? That's what you're referencing? Something like that?
I don't know. They're just in the dungeon. They're like, we got to go save that character. And I don't know if that is someone who's maybe like one of the Valdesian students, or, one of the other Archons we've never met. I don't know, someone. And they have information that we just don't have. Maybe they're the person whose job it was to monitor Razatsan. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen there. But there's clearly a reason we're going. But again, it feels very much like Stormblood, which is like going to a place for a thing. All right, we've done it. Now we're going to go to another place for a thing. Like that kind of... And that might be disjointed for some people, depending on how they tell the story. I have no clue. But I feel like it's possible.
Let's talk about the Zenos arc and where we're going.
Yeah.
Does Zenos join us? Do we fight Zenos? Does Zenos take and destroy Zodiark or Hydaelyn, and then we destroy Zodiark, and then we fight, and he's fun? Like, what are we doing with Zenos? What's going on with Zenos?
Zenos is our, like, red herring baddie. I'm not, like, I played every Final Fantasy, and I'm going to use all of my Final Fantasy knowledge and know-how to make the assumption that there's only 2 outcomes. One, Fanadiel, I almost forgot his name. Fanadiel is using Zenos and his insanity for something Fanadiel wants to do. Like, Fanadiel is...
or something like that.
Yeah, Fanadiel is that Rise of Zillart kind of Kefka-esque, I'm the last one, burn it to the ground character.
Yeah.
And so that Final Fantasy trope is one that's used all the time, and they're using it here, which is just like, I'm the last guy, F it, you thought you seen bad, now you're gonna see real bad. And so Fanadiel has like a plan, right? He's not just whatever you say, boss. He's clearly up to something, and we're going to find out what that is. The 2 outcomes are either going to be, 1, Fanadiel has tricked Zenos and is like, gotcha, bitch, and then Zenos is killed. Or Fanadiel tries to trick Zenos, and Zenos
kills him.
He's like, who did you think I was, dude? And Zenos kills him. Either way, that's where we end up at the end. It's one of the 2 of them's going to kill each other, and then it's going to turn into like some nonsense. We fight them, and because Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy, and this is the last expansion for this story, that won't be the last boss. There will be another boss that will be like, infinite death sadness. And it'll just be like a big
On the moon.
giant creature that makes no sense, and we'll just be like, I love this. I don't know what this is, but here we are. And that's going to happen. And everyone will be like, well, that was the embodiment of Zodiark's emotionality. I'll be like, sure. Okay, yeah, whatever.
That might be the like, oh my God, he turned to the screen. I don't know if that's fearful or if I'm fearful of that, or I'm curious to see how they wrap it up. Because you're right. In all other Final Fantasies, for the most part, the final boss is some like, attack and dethrone God type shit, right? It's not necessarily the bad guy up until that point. It's the bad guy who's finally done something to fuse his entity with another entity, and now you're fighting like some super bad guy. And I really hope we don't get that, but I don't know who the big bad would be, because definitely not Fanadiel, right? Like he's not, they haven't introduced his character in that way that makes him seem like a Emmett or a, any other big named Ascian. So really the only name that comes to mind is Zodiark. And so maybe you fight Zodiark, but that seems too easy to say like, oh yeah, Zodiark's the final bad guy. Because I don't think they're trying to tell the story that Heidelin's good and Zodiark's bad.
No, I think they're both.
I think they're trying to tell the story that you need to be in the middle somewhere. It's not all good or bad.
If they are indeed, and who knows what we'll learn, but if they're indeed straight up just primals are representations of what the people summoning them desired. And so the people who, summoned Zodiark were like, yo, save our world. And the people who summoned Heidelin were like, yo, keep Zodiark in check. And so, that was their overwhelming prime directive, right? They didn't, there was no, well, Heidelin's good and Zodiark is evil. That's not the case. They're just astral umbral things. So
right.
It's possible that before the end, Heidelin and Zodiark are just gone, right? Like whatever happens, they're just
done
gone.
with. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that opens the floodgates, right, to whatever destroyed the source to begin with, or I guess the original planet. And maybe the final boss is maybe the final boss is like the first wave of something terrible. Actually, that'd be like a neat setup for the future, where it was like the final boss of this expansion, which is like the hardest thing we've ever fought, is like the first guy through the portal of like new enemies. And it's like, oh shit, they're way worse than what we like, that kind of thing. That could be interesting.
Could be.
Where it's like a giant monstrosity, and it's like, oh, this is why we needed Heidelin and Zodiark, but we don't have them anymore, so now it's on us, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's another question too that I've thought a lot about. Of, 6.0 is the end, right? There's no future patches for this arc. It is the end and the beginning of an arc. So what is the post credits for the expansion? Is it them like stepping out into a new world? Is it them like stepping out? Because if the Ascian arc is over, maybe it's a nod to the raid. Maybe it's a nod to what Pandemonius is, or Pandemonium, or whatever.
I think we're just gonna see the characters go their separate way. Like now that
you think they're gonna split up the
Scions. Oh, Scions are done. Yeah.
You think?
Positive.
What if let me ask.
That's the sad part at the end. Convinced of it. Yes.
What if they do a time skip?
Never happening.
At the end, like, you don't think that they do a time skip and like Alphino is leading?
I think Alphino's definitely going to go back to Charlene and become
a member
of the council for sure.
Yeah.
Like he's going. His dad's 100% dead. His dad's going to do something dumb and die. As all idiot parents in movies and TV do. Right. At some point, that guy's just dead, and Alphino is going to go back and lead. This is in a way a Jesse fanfic, but Alphino goes back to lead. Gaius and whoever's left of the Imperials go to like Garlemald to like fix the place. We're gonna see like Ustola's gonna become the new Matoya because Matoya is definitely dying. There's gonna be like all
where does
the side
Thancred
characters.
sit in then?
Great
Do
question.
you think he becomes like
originally
Matoya's
thought Thancred-
bodyguard or something? I don't know.
I thought Thancred would be dead, but here we are. I have no clue what happens to Thancred. Maybe he goes back. He finds a way to go back to the first. Right? Like, I don't know. Because that's where his heart is, I would imagine. And so I think the only thing that's going to happen in the end is wherever we head next, it's going to be your character plus Alice plus Graha.
Oh, okay. I can definitely see.
So it's going to be
Graha.
just the three of you as like best buds on adventures. Because Alice and Graha are like your number one fans, and so I think that's a solid like. Hey,
I think Graha
you're on to
definitely
other
sticks
things. You're
around.
gonna have a few with you, but you're gonna, you're moving on.
And I think also just because of how big Y'shtola is in terms of like a fan base and a beloved character, she will become Matoya, but you will also see her a lot. Like she'll still be a part of the crew, or like you go to her nonstop. For help.
I don't think in the future these characters are just not going to be around. I just think they're moving on story wise, and so the Scions are no longer needed, and they'll all break up and do their own things. And if they come back, they come back, or if we need them for something, for sure. But they won't be the main characters anymore. They'll be more like Merlwyb and Ralbon, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we'll meet new characters, whoever they are.
Well, that's the wild thing to consider too. The fact that, we're coming up on what, like an 8-year, 9-year, however, maybe even 10 at this point. I lose count of this game, and this arc is ending, right? And the fact that potentially it's time for it is time for an entirely new thing. I think that might be more exciting than this ending for me. Is
sure
what the fuck is the future, right?
Well, I think
what are we doing? What are we gonna start? Is this gonna turn into like Star Ocean, and we just start going from planets to planets? Like, what are we gonna go meet up with the dragons and find their planet where they came from? Like, I don't know.
Well, their planet I think is gone, right?
Right. Yeah. But there's, there's always a secret
there's
planet
two
or
continents, at least two continents that we haven't explored ever.
A new world, right? And something else. Yeah. We're gonna go to Amazon's new world. It's gonna be buggy, and then we'll leave.
Yeah. There's at least two continents we haven't explored. Just looking at this, I literally on my desktop. This is how much of a giant ass nerd I am.
Do you have the world map?
On my desktop, I have a chart, and it says rejoining shards. And it says the source, and then it lists the 1st through the 13th, and then like everything about them.
Yeah, what's in them.
Yeah, and so right now the 4th, the 8th, the 9th, and the 11th have never been mentioned or visited. So those have potential. The entire 13th exists that we've never returned to. Yeah. And then all the other ones are gone. But I'm looking at it right now. There's just 4 that we've never visited, and one that we can go to.
If this is the end of the current arc, I feel like in some way those, like, in some way we're gonna become whole again.
No, the rejoinings can never happen. We prevented it. We purposely stopped it. That was the whole point.
Like, be a
when we defeated the 3, when we defeated the 3 main big guys, and there's no more whole Asians left. That's it. Like they're done. That's the whole. Remember us? They can never come back. The Asians are done.
It's true.
Technically, we in Fanadiel are the last Asians.
Do you think that the name?
Actually, that's a lie. There's 2 that have never been mentioned.
And those will probably be in the expansion.
There's 2 more missing Asians. Yeah.
One of those is probably on the moon, and he's just like the records keeper or some shit. And he's
I'm sure they're on one of the other worlds or something, or maybe they'll be in Pandemonium or something like that.
Yeah. Do you think the name for whatever the new line of bad guys is will be worse or better than Asian?
I hope that they do something that I like what they had started with. The reason why I like Zenos is because he isn't otherworldly. He's just a dude who
he's just a strong dude.
Yeah, he's just messed up, and I think that's fun. I would hope that whatever we are gonna fight, it's like, another kind of like human or earthly villain. However,
Like an Empire
there
type
is
situation or something.
there is like the sound. What is it called? Like a thing from another something. Literally the thing that destroyed the source. Like the space demons, the sound, whatever it's called. All we know is that they heard a sound and it was bad news, and that was it.
They just
Whatever
died?
that is.
I mean, that
whatever
could be
caused it. Like and again, the sound is worse, right? Being like, we got to fight the sound. That's crazy, but it does space.
That's a little lava
Calamity. Yeah, space calamity. That sort of eldritch, otherworldly horror leaves us open for some prime Lavos. That's exciting. Or Genova.
Oh man,
yeah, that's fun. That's good times.
I don't know why or how this keeps happening to me, but I keep forgetting that we're going to some form of zeal in this expansion.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
I have no idea what that is.
You just
and it
jogged
literally
my
looks
memory.
like zeal.
It's fucking zeal.
And the fact that they will not say the name of it is
they're not
super frustrating.
Well, that was the other thing too that we talked a lot about this afternoon, and really for a long time now, leading up to every other expansion. They have not come out and said giant spoilers, but they've showed a fair bit of, the different zones and kind of talked about different things or different entities that live in those zones and, showed you pictures, don't necessarily explain it, etc. When it comes to this expansion, specifically in that last letter from the producer live, they would show you a corner and make sure that nothing else was being shown because they were that fearful of something being spoiled. We've never seen Yoshi P / the devs be on that level before.
That's
Which makes me think again, I don't know what the fuck we're going to be playing if it's that level of secrecy that they're trying to uphold.
If they pull a time trap, oh my god.
Do you think the world ends and we go back in time?
I think the Avengers kind of ruined that goof.
It did.
But
it did.
in the trailer, the launch trailer, they literally show all the main scenes again.
Right.
So it's possible that we can straight up you have to go to Zeal.
Do you think
they're known for their time travel or some shit? That'd be wild.
The planet we set because of the actions of the Scions set the planet for a crash. No matter what, it is destined to just be fucking destroyed. And the only way to prevent that is from us going back in time and stopping ourselves or some version of ourselves.
We do know how time travel works. We have a guy who literally knows time travel.
Yeah. Yeah, we just did an entire expansion with him, right?
I am really curious to see
what if we go back and stop the end of 1.0?
That doesn't the problem is that sets us back.
I guess
tremendously. Because of 1.0, we united all of the kingdoms.
Part of me is I really hope they don't for some reason. Dude, what if that's why they couldn't show anything? What if we go to the moon and the moon is a fucking time travel device?
That seems insane. It just seems the whole moon is for time travel. I don't know. It's I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that there's a lot that they clearly aren't saying.
Right.
And that leaves a lot of room for interpretation of well, this is what it actually means, which is crazy.
I agree with Internet Plumber. Astidian flies around the planet so fast that it goes back in time. That's why we got to go to Zeal. He's got to get the right current, the right aether current to just fly like Superman.
Yeah, I have no clue what this is gonna be. I'm definitely curious if we're going to see any other parts of the world in the future. It never makes sense to me to be like, well, you've beaten a storyline. Now let's leave the planet and set. Like, I don't want this to do.
You don't want this to go to space?
Yes. A great example is a video that I didn't make. Well, I did make and then didn't release because it was just me complaining the entire time. Is I was trying to explain my thoughts on the current state of WoW and how, at the end of the day, the big conversation I think everyone needed to have was, how does it become World of Warcraft again now that it's afterlife creation machines in an afterlife created by people that created the afterlives and reality? Like, it's too much. It's too big. And the game is like, how do you bring it? How do you then take it from now that you've literally created afterlives back to the planet and give a damn about what's happening on the planet? That kind of thing. Like, it can't get too big. It's almost like when we were talking about the movie, the newest Eternals movie, where it's like, the end of that movie is so big galactically. Like, how do you then, go back and watch Hawkeye as a Christmas special? You know what I mean? Like, it's too big.
Yeah.
And so the same thing here. The reason why the idea of other planets doesn't particularly matter is because technically it's the same planet, right? It's a reflection of the source, and there are 14 of these things, and they're all connected. So it isn't like wild and crazy, we went to the dragon's homeworld kind of thing. It's we're connected in some way. It's all part of the same story, so they can get away with that. And now they're going to the moon. The moon is fine. It's been there since the beginning, right? It's been a place where the Ascians have hung out for a while. It's like, all that's connected. But if we ever just end up in a different, you're in hell, like, that's too much. It's too much. So before we get crazy, let's focus on, Mirror City is still a place. The New World is still a place. We can go to those places.
Yeah.
And the 13th is a place. We can go explore the 13th. It's a world of darkness. That'd be dope to see. Who knows what that place would be like? Then there's literally the 4th, the 8th, and the 9th, and the 11th.
Yeah. Well, we saw that one shot in the trailer that we paused and talked about for a while in our initial stream, where there's like bubbling, giant circles of darkness. That might be the 13th.
Yeah, that place looks dope. That could be the 13th.
Yeah,
you're right.
I don't know why we would go there, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the point of that would be. What MacGuffin we would have to go there for, but yeah. It's one of those things where, for years, WoW went crazy with it, but they kept it confined to the planet, right? They were like, well, we're going to an alternate reality. We're going to but at least it was planetary. And at a certain point they were like, now we're going to, make it X number of crazy levels above where we were. And now we're involved with spaceships. And now we're involved with and eventually it becomes too crazy. It becomes the same thing where comics have a problem, where now you have superheroes that are able to fly through galaxies whenever they want, and at the same time you have to tell the exact same story for Peter Parker. And right. And then if you ever team them up, it's now Peter Parker and then a person who can destroy a planet with his eyes. It's too much. It's just and so. Or,
I hope
you get an incredible story like Blackagar Boltigan where he can't speak.
No, Blackagar Boltigan is Suckagar Sucktastigan.
Sorry.
That's right. Take that.
MCU crew keeps bleeding into the show and just nonstop.
It's shameless plug. Go watch it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, 9 a.m.
We're talking Hawkeye. It'll be a fun one. Well, I think that's it. It's been an expansion though. This is, I kept going back to that, kept circling back to that both mentally and just on the stream. This expansion has been one of my favorite things to check in on. It's been one of my favorite things to watch people like yourself, other streamers that are experiencing it for the first time. I think I've watched the end of Shadowbringers at least 20 times now, through the lens of someone else for the first time. And I don't know if that's ever happened to me before in any other game, right? Where I care so much about how people react to a specific moment or something like that. And so I only hope that Endwalker can somehow, match Shadowbringers. Not necessarily outdo. I don't know if that's possible. You can only do something like what Shadowbringers did once, right? And if they do, if they create another one or live up to the hype, who knows what Endwalker will be, and who knows where this game will be. The other thing is this game has grown immensely through so many different reasons, whether it's just the quality of the game. COVID obviously had a giant factor, I think, into this. They delayed the fucking release of the next expansion by 2 weeks because they were worried about servers and stability. And that just kind of shows how much this game has changed and grown over the past 2 years. So I'm only excited that much more for whatever the future of all this kind of holds. So I suppose we will see. Those are my kind of final thoughts on Shadowbringers. I don't know if you have any that you want to share, or if you'll make a separate video, etc. But
I don't, I think
you kind of experienced it all for the first time to begin with, not necessarily the expansion. So different for
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I don't know that I have any particular final thoughts on the single expansion, because for me, it was a long journey through everything.
Yeah.
And so I have a cohesive story that I can see the way they're telling the story. I get how they were like, in my mind, Endwalker is literally the direct continuation of Stormblood, in that Stormblood existed and we were ready to throw down with the bad guy, and then we got our asses sucked into another reality to handle some issues, only to be like, all right, we got to handle this and then go back. And so during that period we were away, the war was like still happening, but on pause
time
a little
hasn't
bit.
progressed.
Yeah, so there's things were, it wasn't great while we were gone, but now we're back and we're gonna, finish the war is kind of the idea. And the problem is we came back to finish the fight, if you will. We're very Halo 3 right now, except the bad guy that we're fighting does not care about winning. He's just like, I'm burning it down, baby.
Right.
Yeah, he just wants to fight, which is crazy. So I think that's super fun. I can't wait to see where that goes. But like I said before, it has a very directly connected to Stormblood vibe, and I don't know that everyone's going to dig that. And we'll see. Sticking the landing on something 8-10 years long
fucking hard to do.
It's tough.
It's impossible.
It's very tough.
Very hard.
And I would wager we have never seen an MMORPG do that.
Correct. Yeah.
I can't think of one. I can think of a lot of RPGs that have stuck the landing on like a
that has done that.
Well, over multiple series, you're absolutely right. I think if anyone talks about, like, since Halo, we just mentioned it and it's happening right now. If anyone wants to tell me that they've nailed the Halo series, you're out of your mind. Like, the Halo story is all over the place now.
Yeah.
And they kept having to come up with reasons to finish the fight. There's a lot of great games that have like one or two fantastic things, but even Mass Effect, I think, is there's even sticking the landing to a 60-80 hour game is tough. Like,
right. Now
I always use
300
Final
to 400
Fantasy
range, right?
Yeah. Like, I always use Final Fantasy 8 as an example of just, it is 3/4 a fantastic game. And then that last CD is like, what is happening right now? And that it's hard. It's hard to do. And so, I while I don't expect it to suck, I don't know that, like, if they nail it, so far, every one of my expectations has been met. When I've seen a thing in this game where I'm like, oh, a great example is when I first met all the different people who were the kind of like the first B team. You know what I mean? Like, all the new characters on the first who were like, we're adventurers. The first thing I thought was like, if these sons of bitches don't become the Avengers of the first by the end of this, I'll be so mad. And the fact that like everything I want happened is all I can ask for. So I want to make sure that I set my expectations low, but I'm ready if I see a thing in the game to be like, oh are they gonna do this? And if it happens, I will be so pleased.
Yeah. There's also to reinforce what you just said. The fun part about, I think, this game in general is that the developers understand the community because they're part of it, and they understand the memes and they understand the goof, and that stuff comes in through writing a lot of times, as they'll make subtle nods to it, etc. So like, if there's a subtle nod to Tataru being a big bad, or Estinian jumping us to the moon, or just small shit like that, I'll be so fucking happy, right? And I could totally see them just making a one-off statement and then cutting to Alphino or Alizé and then just like dismissing it immediately. That'd be enough, right? That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And I think small shit like that will probably exist, and it'll be awesome. The other thing that's fascinating for me is this game launched. I went and looked up the date. The information I found on a quick Google search while in the middle of a podcast chat, don't crucify me if I got it wrong. 27th of August, 2013 is when patch 2.0 launched for this game. And with that, I want to say probably by the 30th, probably even later that day, I got to that level 20 cutscene where you got to see Gaius and you got to see Garlemald and you got to see all the, the Empire. Finally, after 8+ years, we are going to Garlemald. I hope that we get to see it before it goes to shit somehow, but I don't think we're going to.
It's already.
I think we're going to end up and it's just going to be shit.
I
is the expansion
going to
start
to see it
just it just explodes? Like you click right click on the quest and Tataru's like, well, let's get some coffee, and then they just hear an explosion.
I think the impetus for the expansion, at least what maybe us going to Garlemald, is the fact that it does go to shit, and so we go there as like humanitarian aid, right? We're trying to help the people there because Zenos nuked it.
Yeah.
I don't know in what way that will all happen, but it's very obvious from the stuff that I saw, even though I have no context. It looks like
there's a
ton of refugees, so
yeah.
Something's going on.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. You got any closing words here? Any final thoughts? Also, we need to, I guess, say that, and then we gotta figure out how we want to like do shows for. Do we just play the entire expansion and then do a show, or I'll probably be further ahead in the expansion than you will, so we could like do check-in points. I don't know. I'll think about that.
I have no clue. Yeah, I'm gonna be a few days behind everyone, so that'll be a real treat.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Don't spoil it for me.
Yeah, oh my God, Jesse. The time traveling.
Not you. That wasn't directed at you.
We're going back in time, Jesse. Oh my God.
I would assume my final parting words for everyone is take your time. Hurry up. Choice is yours. Don't be late.
It's true.
True. Yeah, there's no reason to rush. Enjoy. It's the end. So enjoy it and don't try to like rush through it all and figure out what the, I don't want to be spoiled, so I'm going to beat it as fast as I can. Just take your time. Have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say while we did get we being the community at large, did get a massive influx of players, it turns out when the community in general is well-mannered and not full of assholes, that rubs off on assholes, and then they turn into well-mannered people as well. So I'm not necessarily worried about people running around just like spouting spoilers for the story just across Twitch. I think, there'll always be a bad egg every once in a while. But
well, I mean, it depends on the level of spoiler. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if we have a killed Snape kind of spoiler, there'll be people who do it just for fun.
True. Yeah, but that's the other thing.
Or Snape killed, whatever.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Apart from like straight up, scenes like that, I don't even know if you could spoil what the end of this looks like, right? Like, oh my God, you guys fought the giant fucking demon sound thing from the other planet. Holy shit. Right? Like, how you get I don't know. Or maybe it's spoiler.
Not a clue.
Yeah. Who knows? Who could say? I think that's it though. I think we're gonna wrap it up and be ready. So what is your plan, by the way? You're gone Thursday through Saturday. What was your? You're gone.
So this week I'm headed up to film a thing with my parents.
Nice.
Get ready for that.
You're gonna explain the Shadowbringers story.
It may or may not be related to this very game, so get ready. Wow. That's gonna be wild.
Okay.
I don't know what that's about.
I made a joke, but I guess it's
no, it's you're very accurate.
Yeah.
But the problem is I thought that was in Los Angeles. Turns out it's in like San Francisco. So that means instead of it being a 1-day thing, it's now a 3-day thing. So okay. So I come back the 3rd. So I already am missing launch.
Okay.
Then 3 days later, I fly to Chicago for live shows for Cox and Crendor. I don't come back till the 13th. So yeah. They my life was planned around the game having already been out for 2 weeks.
Right.
So, whatever.
That's how it goes. That's how it happens.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be live Friday at I think I'm going live at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. my time, or 2 a.m. sorry, Eastern, 1 a.m. my time. Game launches at 3 a.m. my time, 4 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to be tired, but it's going to be worth it.
You know what? Don't get crazy. Don't go chasing the
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Yeah, don't go chasing waterfalls. Okay. Remember, stick to the rivers and the fields that you're used to.
That's true.
Is that what it is? Is that the lyrics?
I was hoping you
that
knew,
song's old.
I don't know the lyrics. I've always just known don't go chasing waterfalls, and that's that.
Is it the rivers and the streams? It's something that you're used to. Look, don't go chasing waterfalls.
Something like that. Something like that. And then lastly, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching, both to the FC, the people that have joined us live, people that joined us throughout any of our experiences in Final Fantasy. That I think me and Jesse both can speak to how much this FC changes this game for us in a positive way, and kind of gives us a reason to log in every single day. So shout out to you guys watching, to everyone else who will be partaking in the Endwalker experience, and to our other streamer friends, Dodger and Strippin. Well, we need to rope them in on one of these. We got to get those motherfuckers in here.
They see, here's the problem.
Okay.
They have decided to play another MMO called Child Rearing, and I hear that one sucks. Yeah. I hear that MMO is terrible, and I'm gonna let you know, I don't want to play it. So,
Well, maybe we can't get them on at the same time, because you never see two thorns in the same place on the internet.
Yeah.
At the same time. Right. But at least one of them.
Think they're the same person.
It's true. It's true. At least one of them. Anyways, we'll be back. I don't know what the recording process is going to be like for this moving forward. I would suspect that I will finish it before Jesse Cox, but I don't know.
You will. 100%.
Well, what I was going to say is I don't know if I want to interject into the middle of the story and Jesse, what are your thoughts so far? Right. So it might just be hey, we'll talk when Jesse finishes it type deal. I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know.
Depends on what, I imagine I'll just play from start to finish and do my thing. So
yeah, this
isn't going to be like one of those things where it's, you've beaten the story. Now, what do you think is going to happen in 6.1? None of us know. So
that's true. That's true. Also, Jesse, what do you think of this reindeer Lalafell in the front left here?
I love this reindeer Lalafell.
Christmas time is here, Jesse Cox.
It made me contemplate breaking out my Santa suit. I saw that and I was like, am I going to have to go all the way back to a dog, get my damn Santa suit, bring it all the way back here? And I was like, nah, I'm too lazy for that. Well, that's all right. Well, that's too much. You know what? No, it's not. Sometimes in this life, you got to be ready.
That's right.
For anything.
Let's get out of here, frog.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the old Donkey video where he's like, this is too much. Let's get out of here, Master Chief. And he's playing Skyrim. All right. We're out of here. Thanks, everyone, so much for watching. We will see you guys next time. Jesse, enjoy Endwalker if I don't talk to you. But I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
We have a show. All right? Get to dancing. We're out of here. Bye-bye.